A month ago, my boyfriend and I got engaged. We moved into a new apartment and began living together. It was the first time either of us had shared an apartment, so it was a new experience for both of us. We were deeply in love. I knew he was the one I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, and I thought he felt the same about me. My boyfriend is doing a master's program in computer science while I work at a media agency, and everything went well until 2 weeks ago when I noticed that my boyfriend was acting very strangely. He became so attached to me that it felt like he couldn't stand being away from me for a moment. One evening, he said to me, "Darling, when you're not at home, I still feel you near me." I didn't attach much importance to these words. I thought he was just being affectionate. However, a few days later, he told me something else. "Whenever you're at work, I often hear your voice as if you are calling my name." That was really strange. And I started to get a little worried about him. One day, when I arrived home from work, I found him sitting silently in the living room, staring blankly at the wall. I sat down beside him and asked what was the matter. "There is something wrong with me. I saw you today walking from the kitchen into the bedroom, and then you stood staring at the window." I really began to worry and suspected that my boyfriend was losing his mind. This continued to happen over the next few days, and then one night, my boyfriend was very tired and decided to go to bed early. I held his hand and sat on the edge of the bed as he was falling asleep. Just before he nodded off, he whispered into my ears, "You were in the kitchen again." Just then, I heard a dull noise coming from the kitchen. It sounded like a chair scraping across the linoleum. Then I heard the sound of footsteps walking down the hallway. Fear gripped my heart. I didn't know what to do. All of a sudden, the handle on the bedroom door began to turn, and the door slowly began to open. My eyes grew wide with fear. The door swung open, and I saw a woman standing there in the doorway. It was me, but at the same time, it wasn't me. It's difficult to describe exactly what I saw. It was as if I was staring at myself in a mirror, but the other me had cold, lifeless eyes. She looked at me for a moment, then turned and left, shutting the door behind her. It took me a moment to recover from the shock, and then I sprang off the bed and ran after her. The hallway was empty. I checked the kitchen, then the bathroom, but she was nowhere to be found. The other me simply vanished. It was terrifying. And then, as I stood in the hallway, trying to figure out what had just happened, trying to convince myself that it was just a hallucination. I heard a faint voice coming from the kitchen. It was the voice of my boyfriend. "We are here to stay," he said. "Forever." My boyfriend wasn't in the kitchen. He was lying in the bedroom, exactly where I had left him. I was so frightened. I started to tremble like a leaf. I ran into the bedroom, woke up my boyfriend, and dragged him with me out the front door. We left the apartment and spent the night in my friend's house. Tomorrow morning, we will go back to pick up our things and never come back. Hopefully, no one will be there